The ability model for EI. According to this model, emotions provide you with the information you can use to better pick up and identify social data. Similarly, emotions help you deal with social situations by tying the emotional information you pick up into your own actions, reactions, and coping mechanisms. These two abilities go hand in hand. Individuals vary tremendously in these two abilities. This variation among individuals is reflected in their adaptive behaviors. Others are able to do well in most social situations, others need a little bit more help, while others are completely clueless. The Ability EI model focuses on 4 key abilities. The ability model for EI looks at one's awareness and effectiveness in dealing and working with emotions as primarily learned behavior. In other words, you're not born with these skills. It's something that you pick up and you hone as you mature as a human being. This is a big deal because if it is learned, then it is not set in stone. It's also something that all people, given enough time, effort, and focus, can master. It's not something that some people are born with and other people are not born with. This is the model for this training. I believe that EI is an ability that you can learn, fine-tune, and optimize over time. Accordingly, the ability model for EI focuses on 4 key abilities. Emotion perception. Your ability to perceive emotions doesn't just involve face-to-face interactions. You are also able to detect emotions from the tone of people's voices, the faces people make in movies, as well as how scenes are set up in the materials you read. You are also able to detect emotions in the context of cultural expressions. Part of emotional perception includes perceiving your own emotions. In fact, this is the cornerstone ability of emotional intelligence. If you're not aware of your own emotions, how do you expect to be aware of other individuals' emotions? It's impossible. Accordingly, the ability model of EI focuses primarily and initially on building up one's ability to honestly and sincerely perceive and label one's own emotions. Everything hangs on this ability. Using emotions. The next component to the ability model of EI focuses on training people to use their emotions to solve problems, to think about and analyze issues better, as well as to use mood to handle tasks or situations. Understanding emotions. Understanding emotions is different from perception. You're not just identifying other people's emotions or your own. Instead, understanding emotions deal with understanding how your emotional responses interact with sensitive or complex situations. You look at your emotions in the context of your social interactions. This requires attention to detail regarding small changes to people's emotional responses around you, as well as small changes in your own reactions. This skill set also requires that you figure out how your own emotions, as well as how you read other people's emotions, evolve over time. Managing emotions. Finally, the ability model for emotional intelligence also focuses on helping individuals regulate their emotions. In addition to being able to dial down emotional states, individuals also learn how to channel their emotional states to different expressions. If you're feeling sad, there are more ways to communicate that emotional reality than just simply pouting or crying. This is an important skill because the quality of your social interactions as well as your relationship can be greatly improved if you adopt a better emotional vocabulary for emotional expression. Managing emotions also involve the ability to separate your thoughts from your emotions. When mental images come out, you don't necessarily have to get triggered in a negative way. You don't have to keep repeating the same emotional reactions that you've had to negative thoughts and other stimuli that you have experienced over the years. You can change your response. Finally, emotional management also involves harnessing strong emotions to achieve both individual and collective goals. The advantages and disadvantages of the ability model for emotional intelligence. The big advantage to the ability model for EI is that this is testable. Researchers are actually able to measure the abilities above. People either have it or they don't, or somewhere in between. Another key advantage of this model is that it is learned. It is not somehow hardwired into who you are. You are not born an emotionally intelligent person. According to this model, people pick this up shortly after they are born, and they improve on it or fail to improve on it as they get older. This is a big deal because if we start with the assumption that emotional intelligence is somehow hardwired, then we are left with a very different position of admitting that some people have it and some don't. And those that don't are not going to develop emotional intelligence. They're basically left with whatever level of emotional intelligence they have, which could be very low or almost non-existent. This is a very difficult position to put ourselves in. The disadvantage of the ability model is that it takes time to cultivate EI. It also takes effort to learn. You must be willing to learn. Another key disadvantage is that different people come from different backgrounds. It's great if you come from a background where your family is very supportive and you grew up in a warm, nurturing environment. What if you grew up with parents who are very discouraging? What if you come from a background where you feel that you are opposed or discouraged from all sides? It's important to note that different people from different backgrounds can have different results using the techniques mentioned in this training precisely because they come from different backgrounds. Do not underestimate the impact of your personal background. Your childhood, your family structure, and your family history, as well as your own personal experiences, provide a context to not only your ability to learn emotional intelligence, but also your speed of learning.